There's a classic bait and switch happening right now in front of everyone's eyes. And guess who's behind it? BlackRock. Yes, that's it. They're not just making moves, they are pushing for complete global dominance right now. Remember when the Panama Canal was supposed to go back to the American people? Well, BlackRock just made a $23 billion deal to buy the key ports surrounding it. And the mineral deals in Ukraine? Who do you think is positioning themselves right at the center of it all? But that is not even the worst part. What if I told you the US government just figured out how to control your money without even calling it a CBDC? They don't need to pass new laws, they don't need public approval, and they don't need to announce anything. Instead, they are quietly taking over something that already exists and hardly anyone is noticing. The US government is making massive moves, but they are pretending they aren't. Instead of launching its own CBDC or central bank digital currency from scratch, it looks like they are hijacking stablecoins instead. The government has stopped fighting crypto the way they used to. Instead, they are adopting it, but in a way that lets them stay in control. All they've done is swap out the words and tweak the messaging so people don't think twice about what's really going on right now. Okay, so in this video, we are going to dive deep into what's really going on. The US government used to act like CBDCs were some far out futuristic idea, something they weren't really considering. They threw out all the usual excuses, claiming that they were worried about privacy, financial stability, and the risk of destabilizing the banking system. They even recently said that they would never create a CBDC, but now their actions are proving otherwise, just as I've been saying, people, on Twitter and on YouTube. The government wants a digital dollar, but they don't want it in a way that gives you any financial freedom. They know that rolling out a full-blown CBDC overnight would cause massive backlash. So instead, they've taken a slow and strategic approach. They've simply rebranded the idea, replacing the term CBDC with stablecoin to make it sound less threatening. People are losing trust in the government, and rightfully so. A programmable dollar that tracks everything you do is not something the public would ever willingly embrace. Instead of announcing their true intentions, the Federal Reserve has been slowly shifting its tone over the years. At first, they claimed they were just studying a digital dollar. We all knew that was a lie, reassuring everyone that it was just research, nothing more, no big deal. But now they are holding discussions, publishing research papers, and laying the groundwork for something much bigger. They just won't come out and tell you exactly what something is. Here's where it gets interesting. Instead of launching their own CBDC from scratch, they are looking at stablecoins. See, they're too lazy to create something that's amazing, so they have to rely on the free market to do that. Okay, but I digress. Now, it's not just stablecoins. USDC is at the center of the entire strategy. The US government does not like Bitcoin as a currency because they cannot control it. Can't believe people haven't figured that out yet. They have aggressively gone after Tether with lawsuits and banking restrictions, but USDC is a different story. Unlike Bitcoin and Tether, USDC is suddenly receiving a lot of government-friendly attention. The question is, why? The US government quietly backing USDC to roll out a digital dollar without anyone noticing? If that's the case, this is just the beginning of something much, much bigger. USDC is a stablecoin pegged 1-to-1 to the US dollar, issued by Circle, a private company that just happens to be very close to US regulators. It's marketed as a safe and compliant digital dollar alternative, which should raise some serious questions. For years, the US government has been attacking crypto from every angle. They have cracked down on Bitcoin miners, sued major exchanges, and attempted to regulate stablecoins out of existence. But while other crypto projects have been targeted, USDC is somehow embraced. Circle, the company behind USDC, has been actively lobbying for regulations that would solidify USDC's role in the financial system. They have been pushing for the ability to hold their reserves directly where? At the Federal Reserve. Think about what that means. A supposedly private stablecoin would be backed directly by the US central bank. At what point does USDC stop being private and start functioning as an unofficial government-issued digital dollar? If the government fully backs USDC, they don't need to launch a controversial CBDC. They don't have to go through Congress. They don't need public approval. They don't have to announce ZIP. Instead, they can just integrate USDC into the financial system, regulate it into compliance, and suddenly they have a central bank digital currency without ever calling it one. This isn't just speculation, guys. This is already happening. Just look at how USDC is being positioned while other stablecoins are being targeted and restricted. USDT is one of those. There are only a few ways that this can play out. The first scenario is that the US government launches its own CBDC. This is the absolute worst case scenario because it would mean total financial surveillance, programmable money, and complete government control over your spending. It would function just like China's digital yuan, but with a Made in America label. The second scenario is that government backs private stablecoins like USDC instead of issuing its own CBDC. This is what we're already seeing. USDC is being positioned as the safe, compliant, government-approved stablecoin. The Federal Reserve may not issue a digital currency directly, but if USDC is regulated into becoming a government-controlled digital dollar, the result is the absolute same, people. The control mechanisms are identical. The only thing that changes is the branding. The third scenario is a hybrid approach. The government might officially support stablecoins like USDC while gradually adding more layers of control, like they always do. Regulatory chokeholds, backdoor access to reserves, and strategic partnerships could make USDC function exactly like a state-controlled digital dollar. Over time, there would be no meaningful difference between USDC and an outright CBDC. You need to be paying attention right now because once cash disappears, and it eventually will, and everything goes digital, there's no turning back. The government will have control over every transaction, every purchase, and every financial decision you will make. If you want to maintain financial freedom, now is the time to prepare. Get a second citizenship, give yourself options, and hold crypto in self-custody. Do not get complacent, people. This is no longer speculation. The pieces are already moving in place. We have just broken down exactly what is happening. The US government claims to be skeptical about central bank digital currencies, but their actions tell a different story. Don't trust any politician. Instead of launching one outright, they're backing USDC and slowly pushing it into a position where it could function as a government-controlled digital dollar. Circle, the company behind USDC, is making strategic moves to deepen its ties to the Federal Reserve, unfortunately. It is advocating for regulations that would cement USDC's role into the financial system while conveniently avoiding the level of scrutiny that is being thrown around at other stablecoins. Meanwhile, politicians are making public statements opposing CBDCs, of course, but this is just a distraction, people, as you know. If you can think at all, you know this. Because if USDC becomes the de facto digital dollar, the government will never need to create an official CBDC. They will already have everything they need. So do you really think this is all just a coincidence? Or is it a carefully planned strategy to control digital money without spooking the public? More importantly, let me know what you think down below. If you're scared, if you want to know what to do, because there's plenty to do here. If you want to find out what to do, check out learningcrypto.com, of course, and we will be sharing our ideas of how to escape a digital dollar and how to protect ourselves from government interference, especially the Federal Reserve, which controls presidents, countries, pretty much everything that you see around you in the political sphere. They control everything, and I'm going to share with you always how to protect yourself from these parasites. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.